What is up, anglers? It's California Fishing News on June 24th, 2020. I had a great week. I got to spend 5 to 6 days down in Bahia de Los Angeles, down in Baja. Fishing was excellent. It was just great to get away and not watch the news or any of that other BS for a few days. I had a really great time, and there was really good fishing going on at home, too. I didn't really check reports much or anything while we were down there because we were either fishing, drinking beer, or sleeping. It's pretty much all we did down there. But when I finally got back on service and checked all the reports, a lot of good fishing is happening all over now. So before we get into that, some quick upkeeping stuff. Just hit 200 subs on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who has subbed so far. It's pretty rad. And we're also starting to get more listens via the podcast apps than we are on YouTube, which is it's totally sweet. I get it. I listen to podcasts. I don't really watch them, even the ones that are on YouTube. But I do think if you've never watched it on YouTube, it's worth watching one on YouTube because you get to see the photos, you get to look at the charts with me. It'll help you a little bit. It just adds a little more to the show. And I mean, this isn't a 3-hour Rogan thing you got to sit through. They're 15 to 30 minutes at the most generally. So you can sit down and watch it all. And I really think it adds a lot. So if you haven't checked it out on YouTube yet, check it out there. A last note before we really dive in is if you haven't, check out Roman Castro's. He's doing a fishy hour. It's a live stream once a day during the week starts at 7 p.m. And he does different things during the week, but it's pretty cool. He's the first fisherman that's kind of bridging the gap with the new technology of Discord and streaming and all that. He's got a cool community there. He does an interview generally once a week, and I think I'm going to be on it tomorrow night on Thursday. I haven't confirmed with him. I was supposed to be on it last week, but I went on this last-minute trip to Bay of LA, so I had to cancel. But either way, check it out. Go to Roman Castro's YouTube. It's a pretty cool community he's doing there. All right, let's get into it. First stop, my trip to Bay of LA. The fishing was excellent. We caught a whole bunch of yellows, all you want. We had to release them up to about 30 pounds for the biggest we landed. I lost one, I'm sure it was much bigger, of course. And then other good fishing, too. I caught my personal best sardinera or leopard grouper. Got to be probably my personal best yellowtail, too, a solid 25, 26 something pounder. Buddy Eric got this really sweet Gulf grouper, not a giant by any means, but a solid 30-pound fish, the only real Gulf grouper of the trip. And everybody had some fish. I went with my other two buddies, Adrian and Fadi. Fadi had the biggest yellowtail, about 30 pounds. He also got a sheep's head on about a 10-inch mac, which was crazy. And all around the fishing, it was just great. We fished with this guy, Angel Blanco. This is the name of the pangaro we used. You can find him on Instagram at Angel Blanco _Mr. White. He speaks amazing English, and he has the best boat. I mean, I haven't fished in Mexico a ton on pangas, but my buddies who have said it was by far the nicest panga that they've ever been on. Speaks perfect English, and it's a pretty inexpensive trip, too. We got 4 guys to split everything, so we were, it's $380 for a panga down there for the day plus tip, but divided by 4, you're only looking at just over $100 each. To stay down there, it was $100 a night for our place that slept all 4 of us, so $25 a night each. It was just awesome. I had driven by Bay of LA once many years ago when I went spearfishing a little south of there, but I never really spent time there, and it was just I know why people go every year. It was totally, totally awesome. So if you have any questions about any of that, or I can put you in touch with the Pongero or the guy we stayed with at Campo Archelon, you can message me any of the platforms that I'm at, and I can give you more information there. That's it. Oh, and COVID stuff going down. Travel is still technically restricted in Mexico, but the Bay of LA said I asked 2 guys, the guy we stayed with and our Pongero about COVID and how they felt people coming down and all that, and both of them kind of said the same thing. For a while, they were scared too. Our Pongero said for a month and a half, even if people wanted to come down, he said, hey, sorry, I'm not taking people out right now. But places like that, they revolve around the very short season of fishing. It starts in about June, ends by about October, and that's how most of those guys make most of their money for the year, and they do really need people to come down right now. We stopped in San Felipe for lunch on the way back, and a couple restaurants are just starting to open up, and we went by a souvenir store. I got a couple of those Mexican blankets, and the lady said she hasn't sold anything in 2 months, and we, bought a bunch of blankets from her, and she was just so stoked to have any business. So I understand if you want to be careful or you don't want to cross the border and all that, I get it, but if you have any inclination, the fishing is good, the people need it, you can get down there. There was a couple of checkpoints. The military checkpoints, they didn't care about anything. One of them also had police at the checkpoint, and they did want some paperwork from us. They let us through. We didn't have exactly what they were looking for, but we had a water bill from our host, and anyways, they ended up letting us through. We did talk to a couple other gringos down there who did get turned around by them, but they said they went back to San Felipe, contacted their host, got the right documents, and were able to get down and through. So it is definitely still doable. People are saying borders closed, blah, blah, blah. No, if you really want to, you can get down there, and it is worth it. The fishing's great. I have a bunch of GoPro footage I'll have to get through eventually. It takes ages, and I'll probably have a report up on Bloody Decks eventually as well. But for now, just know fishing was great. And yeah, if you have any inclination, get down to Bola. All right, moving on. For offshore fishing. We can see the fleet today is fishing about 33 miles directly southwest from Point Loma, kind of towards the 371, the San Salvador Knoll. You can see on marine traffic, it's not like last week when the boats were all clumped up in one specific area. They're a little bit more spread out today, and honestly, like, the tuna fishing just hasn't been great for a couple of days. The boats are still seeing them. The tuna are still there. It is just bluefin being bluefin in the early season when they just don't want to bite most of the time. It's how it goes. This year's actually been better than the past few years in regards to how much the fish do want to bite, but we're still going to have off days. A trick with marine traffic, it doesn't show like the numbers of the spots here. What you can do is load up marine traffic. On the top right here, you can load the bottom contour, and then you can load temp brake. On temp brake, you can also click this bottom detail button that's on like the toolbar at the top. That'll show the bottom detail there, and then you can use that to compare, and you can find out like the numbers. Or if you're reading reports, people talk about stuff like the San Salvador Knoll 230, 371, all that stuff. You can compare the two there. So it's a good trick to load up marine traffic, check it out. Load up temp brake. Some people might give me crap. So it's like, you're just trying to find where the sport boats go. But I mean, dude, it's the 21st century. Everyone's got their AIS on. It's part of the game. But just don't think that the sports boats are here means that all of the fish are here. Over the weekend, that spot of fish popped up that was apparently 140 miles south of the border. So somewhere down off Coronados somewhere. It's got a lot of yellowfin mixed in. Yellowtail, apparently up to 40 pounds on kelps. I've heard of a 40-pounder and a 35-pounder from the sport boats. Dorado down there, bluefin down there too. It's just not really biting super well either. And so if it's not biting well, the captains are not going to spend... I mean, 140 miles is a long way for a day and a half. 2-day trips, 2.5-day trips, we'll probably head down there to take a look. But captains aren't going to burn all that gas to find, not great fishing if it's not biting down there. So they're staying local. But there's also fish all the way up. There's been multiple reports of tuna off like the Coronados mixed with the dolphins, yellowfin, maybe bluefin. And then there's also been bluefin at the 43, plenty of boats sitting out there in U.S. water. Chances are they're probably on the backside of Clemente too, but normally the Thunderbird or the boats that fish Clemente every day, we'll see them when they pop up there, when they move in any numbers. But don't think that you have to go exactly where the sport boats go. Take a look at temp brake, take a look at the chloro, make your own decisions, but it's all part of the game. You use the most information you got to make the best decision you can. Unfortunately, with the June gloom we've had over the past few days, we do not have very great satellite sea surface temp or chloro maps. So we're kind of just going off the 8-day composite, which is never ideal, but hey, you use what you got. Hopefully we get some clear days here, and we'll be able to get better shots of the chloro and the temperatures out there. Still looks like there's plenty of clean water out there, but again, if it doesn't update and it's using 8-day-old information, this stuff could be fairly inaccurate. So just watch it. I just want to talk about the moon phase real quick because people love talking about the moon phase with bluefin. Last week, for a while, the bluefin were biting pretty good. New moon was June 20th. Now by the June 22nd, 23rd, the bite kind of slowed down. Some people say it's after the new moon, blah, blah, blah. It's really, really hard to know, but, there's bluefin don't bite all the time. So that being said, the Pacifica fished, I believe, yesterday or the day. I don't know if they were fishing on the 23rd or got in on the 23rd. So either fishing the 22nd or the 23rd, but they got double digits of the bluefin from 110 to like 130 pounds. So there are still big bluefin out there to be caught. They still are out there, of course, but they're just not biting that well for the sport boats yet. It'll turn around. They'll bite again. It's still super early, guys. It's June. We just went into summer a few days ago, but it's like, the fishing usually doesn't even get good till the end of August, September, October. So the fact that, we have yellowfin, we have dorado, the bluefin are biting a little bit better, it all bodes well for a much better season. That's it for offshore. Moving on to the islands. Part of that good fishing offshore has been this huge biomass of yellowtail that's around, and it seems to be spread out all over the islands, from the Coronados all the way up to Channel Islands. The full-day boats are fishing the Coronados. They are getting a ton of pressure there. Somebody said there was like 300 boats fishing the islands, and a lot of those boats just pull up to the sport boats and So the counts, it's not like they're getting full limits every day, but there's a lot of fish down there. So, I'm not an expert. I've never captained a boat, like a private boat, to the Coronado Islands myself, but if there's that much fish around, don't think you have to go right where the sport boats are. Like, go away from the fleet, find some fish that aren't quite as pressured, slow troll some sardines. Who knows? Find your own fish. It'll be a lot more satisfying. Clementi's also kicking out bunches of yellowtail. Thunderbird, like I mentioned, is fishing there every day, and some days they bite really well, some days they don't bite, but they are definitely there, and they're seeing them. The Fury also is a boat that's been fishing San Clemente a lot and doing pretty well. They did a 2-day trip, caught like 90 yellows, lost a whole bunch more, and then also you get all the assorted stuff you get when you fish Clemente. So you get some rockfish, you get bat, whatever else is out there. So really good fishing at San Clemente Island as well. Catalina, there hasn't been nearly as many reports, but there was a couple reports on BD that fished on the 22nd. Each of them, one got a couple yellowtail, one got one yellowtail. They were both fishing squid, either live squid or fresh dead. There's also been a ton of bass. I saw a guy in my dive club speared 8.5 pounder. Easy Sport Fishing on Instagram posted a 25-inch 8.5 pound calico they caught there. And some people said, they catch 100 calicos in a day there. So sounds like the fishing's really good over there. It's just not necessarily like huge hits on the yellowtail, but they're still there. So you never know when that'll pop up again. As far as the next island we'll talk about, we'll go check out the Channel Islands. They're getting in on this fun yellowtail stuff too. Of course, they're the farthest north, and they don't get necessarily the huge amount of fish up there. But if you look at their fish counts, they're doing really well. A couple boats had more than one yellowtail per angler, or really close. The Island Tack on a full day, 10 anglers, 9 yellowtail, 50 calicos. Blah, blah, blah. Go to Channel Island Sport Fishing, look at the fish counts yourself. But if you're up that way, they're getting really good fishing. And up there you get, random whitefish, big sheep's head, shallow water. You get lingcod. You get a white sea bass occasionally. There's just good fishing up there too. And some nice hits on the yellowtail. So it just sounds like there's just a ton of yellowtail spread out throughout the Southern California Bight right now, from way down off of Mexico all the way up through the Channel Islands and probably even farther north. Boom, that's it for the island talk. Moving on to inshore. It's getting to normal summertime mode. A lot of bass and a lot of barracuda. More barracuda, I guess, than we've really seen in years, and some legal-sized ones. And they are too spread out from down off of Mexico all the way up to probably Santa Barbara. Don't let anybody tell you barracuda are disgusting. There was a conversation in my dive club who someone said they had a chef make it for them, and it was the most delicious thing ever. So like any fish, it usually can be good if prepared fresh and prepared right. I've heard you soak them in meat a little, or soak them in milk a little bit, and then cook them. And honestly, I've never tried to cook barracuda myself, but just don't think that they're trash fish just because some people tell you they are. We get pretty picky with fish. The truth is, most fish can be really good if prepared correctly. Besides the general inshore stuff of, stuff biting, water warming up, in La Jolla, it's been kicking out yellowtail pretty frequently. The kayakers have been getting them on the slow troll. A guy posted a 41-pound home guard he caught a couple days ago in the San Diego kayak fishing group on Facebook. Said he hooked it in 45 feet of water, his first bait put in the water. And a guy, that's Derek Gandy, who caught that 41-pound yellowtail. Nice work, dude. And then yesterday, I forget his name. I'll find it here in a second. Jesse Casanado went out, and I don't have the weight of it, but had a really nice white sea bass, too, out of La Jolla. So La Jolla is just, the fish are there. La Jolla's really got some yellowtail thick in it when the half-day boats start picking up a few. And yesterday, like the AM half-day boat out of Seaforth Landing had 3 yellowtail. So they can't really target them on the half-day boats that well. They're not necessarily like big schools of fish, but they are there. Speaking of half day, I don't know about you, but with the new load restrictions due to COVID, I think some of these half and full day trips are honestly a better deal than they were prior to it. They do cost a little more, but if you ever fish like the Liberty or San Diego with 55 anglers and you still paid $165, I'd rather pay that extra $35, pay $200, and fish it with 30 people. There's just so much more rail space, so many less tangles. So it's not a bad time to get out there and fish. I know the prices are up a little bit, but honestly, in my opinion, it's better now than it was before. I'm sure the boats are making less money, so I do hope they get it run back at full capacity soon. But you get what I'm saying here. It's just not fun fishing with 55 guys on a boat, even if it is wide open yellowtail. Boom. Moving on to surf fishing. It's all about the corbina and spotfin croaker. It seems to have been an excellent year for spotfin croaker. Pacific Coast Bait and Tackle in Carlsbad is doing its croaker derby this month. The 3 leaders are a 6-pound 1 ounce, a 5-pound 13 ounce, and a 5-pound 6 ounce. And if you just are in the surf fishing groups I always talk about on Facebook, West Coast Surf Fishing, California Surf Anglers, you've just seen a lot of big spotfin being posted. And I don't know, they seem to be making a resurgence this year, or maybe I just suck and don't catch them very often. But anyways, I've seen a lot more posted. It sounds like it's been a really good year for spotfin croaker. Besides that, of course, the main focus this time of year is on the corbina. A lot of them are up really shallow, working the sand crab beds. If you've never done it, even if you're not fishing, just go and walk in the shallows with a pair of polar sunglasses on and just pay attention and look around in the water, and you'll be surprised what you see. You'll see packs of big corbina working the sand crab beds sometimes. You'll see perch, you'll see croaker, you'll see all sorts of rays. So it's really fun. If you've never done it, even if you're not fishing, go for a walk on the beach and take a look. You'll be surprised at what you can find even in a foot of water or less. Speaking of that, there have been a ton of rays in the surf, so just be careful, shuffle your feet and all that, pay attention, because nobody likes getting stung. Apparently it hurts like no other. Boom, that's it for surf fishing. For NorCal saltwater, last week we talked about the salmon fishing up there being excellent, and it has not changed. Bodega Bay, 19 anglers on a full day, had full limits of king salmon up to 20 pounds. 2 lingcod, and 190 rockfish. Holy, that is such an excellent day. Let's play the audio real quick just to hear what the captain's got to say about that.
Captain Rick Powers, skipper of the New Sea Angler out of Bodega Bay Sport Fishing, calling in trip results for today on the New Sea Angler. Tuesday, the 23rd, New Sea Angler ran a salmon, rockcod, lingcod combo. 19 anglers caught full limits of salmon to 20 pounds. Plus full limits of rockfish, along with 2 lingcod to 10 pounds. Again, 19 ang.
Dude, that's just freaking excellent. That is so much good table fare in one trip up there. 2 big salmon and 10 rockfish. Just awesome. And normally, like when I look at these counts, a lot of times it's less than 1 salmon per rod, less than 1 per angler. And lately it's been at least 1, if not more, if you look at all of them. In Berkeley, 13 anglers had 15 of them. 12 anglers had 17 of them. Just really, really good salmon fishing up there, filled those boats. And the ones that aren't targeting are generally targeting halibut or stripers, and that's been really good too. Out of Berkeley too, the California Dawn had 18 anglers on a full day. They caught 37 California halibut and 9 striped bass. So really good fishing up there. If you're depending on if you want to target the salmon or you want to target the halibut and the stripers, you got options. So it is time to go fishing. Boom, and the last thing we're going to talk about, move on here, is freshwater. I don't have a lot of freshwater news or reports. Like I said, I was gone this week. I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of it. But I do want to talk about the story with the lakes in San Diego County. If you haven't been familiar with it, they closed them all due to COVID, and then even when it was obvious that, we should be able to use our parks to fish again, they were really, really slow in opening them, and it's kind of about a budget deal. If you're interested in any of this, check out the California Recreation Freedom Alliance on Facebook. It's I think it's run by the guy Chip Gilbert, who's been like the anglers lobbyist basically in all of this happening in San Diego. But they are opening up all the lakes, and they are going to do a fee study on how to make the lakes more sustainable. Apparently our lakes are just bleeding money, but that makes absolutely zero sense, because how can these how much does it cost to run these freaking lakes? It's bureaucracy, and there's people getting paid having these salaries that we don't really... Whatever. Now I'm just going on a rant. Anyways... Find California Recreation Freedom Alliance on Facebook. They always post when it's time, like, hey, call in, talk to your supervisors and all that. If you're a San Diego freshwater fisherman, it is important to do that. Boom. That's it, guys. Go fishing. There's fish all over right now. There's great fishing. I know the offshore stuff isn't biting incredibly, but you still have a great chance at a fish of a lifetime. There's got full-day trips to the islands, or you can go on an overnight to Clemente. Just go on a half day. You can have a lot of fun catching bass. There really is excellent fishing happening all over the state. So I hope you can get out there, catch some fish. If you have any reports, you can send them to me on Instagram, Gmail, californiafishingnews@gmail.com. Any of the spots you can find me on social media. And thank you very much for listening. I'll be back next week.